Welcome to Nashville, Music City, and the final race of the season for the Area Truck Series. Hi, everybody, and welcome to Sim TV. I'm Kyle Heyer, joined by Finney and Dacuna. Tonight, it's the Area Truck Series season finale in Lebanon, Tennessee. This is the last race of the season, and 4 drivers are competing for the championship, the highest finishing of which will move on to the championship, and they'll claim that tonight. There are 4 drivers, one of which is having trouble getting into iRacing tonight, Finney, and big story for our championship 4.
Yeah, it's actually really, both of us can't believe that we're securing what has happened. So the 4 drivers really going into tonight, or what should have been going into tonight, is Brad Slaughter Jr., David Weiser, Travis Beckner, and Ryan Hartz. Hartz, however, is having issues connecting to the server, and we believe, from what we're hearing, is that it's because he's been suspended from iRacing hosted racing for a month.
That's big news. That's really big news. And honestly, there's 2 ways you can look at this. A, it's the worst timing imaginable because he's going to miss his championship run tonight. On the other hand, this is the last race of the season, so at least most of that month will pass after the season is over and before the next season starts. But big championship implications for one of our championship 4.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate because we thought initially we were hearing that there was some technical gremlin, something with his computer not launching it, so he figured, okay, maybe there's a shot he can get back in, late in the going, just in the nick of time and qualifying. But unfortunately, it seems like he might not even have the chance of getting into the service tonight, which is unfortunate. But we still have 3 really solid competitors. Again, Beckner, Weiser, and Slaughter Jr. are effectively going to be going at it between the 3 of them. And as you can see, all three of them are in the top 4 in the standings in practice.
Michael Leip is the only one not in the playoffs in that top 4 right now. And again, it's just those 4. Whoever finishes ahead of the other wins the championship. And the 3 came up short of a championship last night, came into tonight excited and ready to go for this championship. Probably had a really good shot at winning this one. And he's not going to get a shot, which is a real shame. I guess there's still time, but it's pretty unlikely that that will be overturned if the suspension is the case in the next 10-15 minutes. So big news for the 3, but that leaves David Weishart, Brad Slaughter, and Travis Beckner with 1 fewer driver they have to beat tonight. But you have to look at the championship standings coming into the night. Ryan Hartz was leading with 3 wins. Beckner has 3 wins. Weishart has 3 wins. Brad Slaughter Jr., though, the only driver without a win going for the championship here. 0 wins and in the championship 4. That tells you he was in the right place at the right time.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And even looking at his other statistics has not been as good compared to the others. The other 3 of them had 10 and 9 top 5 finishes. Brad Slaughter only 6 to his name. So he hasn't been finishing quite near the top of the order, but like you said, he's just been in the right place at the right time to get himself into this Final 4. Who knows? He could surprise us. He's had speed all season, just not quite been able to finish. But for Slaughter's case, he definitely has to be able to finish tonight to beat Weiser and Beckner, both of which have been very strong this season.
Travis Beckner's last win came at Lucas Oil Raceway back in January. Prior to that, it was Bristol Dirt. That was back in December. And then it was, of course, Gateway, where he won in November. So he's won on a handful of different racetracks, all different shapes and sizes, but this is probably the biggest track that he would have won on. Or no, Gateway's a little bit bigger than this one, but I'd say Travis has been pretty good on tracks of this size, so we'll have to keep an eye on that 28. You mentioned Brad Slaughter Jr. and then David Weishart in the number 33. Currently on pit lane, he's run 54 laps in practice, more than anybody else. He's at the top of the standings, comes in with his previous win being all the way back at Charlotte. That was back in December. He also won at Darlington and Atlanta earlier in the season. So he was really the intermediate king this time around, Finney, and we'll see how he does tonight, but he looks fast.
Definitely does look fast. And I was actually just looking at the statistics between Weishart and Beckner, fairly similar between the both of them. Both have 3 wins, 1 pole, 9 top 5s, and 12 top 10s. And then looking at the lap sled, 269 laps led for Weishart, 234 for Beckner. A really interesting statistic, though, is then when you look at their average start and finish, Weishart average start 7.19, average finish 7.75 for Beckner. Average start 11.63 and average finish 8.19. So Weishart a little bit more consistent than the 46. To see that helps him out here. Although you can argue consistency is not necessarily required for this last race. It's going to be all about aggression and finishing near the top.
Practice is complete, and at the top of the board, it's David Weishart. It's real time is a 29.999, the only driver to beat the 30-second mark. The previous record at this racetrack was 30.138, so we've already gone faster than that in practice, which is a good sign for David Weishart that he might run even a little bit faster here in qualifying. Prior winner here, Season 1 and Season 2, Brad Slaughter Jr., Finian.
Well, I mean, if you want to look at statistics and you like statistics, that's definitely a good one to look for, especially if you're deciding who you want to bet your odds on for this race, winning at this track, considering how important it is to just win this one race.
Fans, be sure to subscribe to the Area iRacing Twitch channel. For only $5 a month, you can watch all Area broadcasts commercial-free. You can also use new Area iRacing emotes in the chat. You can earn double channel points as a subscriber that you can use to redeem for free merchandise. That's twitch.tv/Area iRacing. So down to the racetrack, qualifying underway. If you'd like to follow along, live timing and scoring is available at simtvbroadcasting.com. You can follow along live as cars are rolling out. And here we go. Cameron Hearn, not in the playoffs, but still could win tonight, Finn. He's always a threat in anything that he runs.
Oh, he is definitely a threat, and interesting seeing getting on the track was posted a pretty quick time near the end of practice. Ended up second on the timesheet. We'll see if he can execute it. It was just a little bit off of Weishart's time. We'll see if he can execute here in qualifying.
So he's on track. So is David Weishart in the 33. He's just getting up to speed now. Go back to Cameron Hearn, who's heading down the back straightaway. We saw lap 2 be the one to beat last night in the Cup Series race, or at least in qualifying. We'll see if that's the case here this time. Cameron Hearn across the line. First driver to trip timing and scoring, a 31.223. I think lap 2 will be the one that he is going for tonight.
Oh, definitely. I think with how much on throttle time these trucks have and how much momentum it is necessary to keep them up to speed, I think we're definitely going to see lap 2 be similar to last night and be the quicker of the 2 laps to see what Cameron Hearn can post here. One of the first guys out there on the track for qualifying.
So for those that just joined, the 3 of Ryan Hart's not able to make it tonight because we believe his account has been suspended, and he has been suspended for hosted racing for 1 month. We do not know the details of why, and honestly, it was shocking to me because, honestly, of all the people to get banned for a month from anything in iRacing, Ryan Hart's would be the last driver I would think would be in that position, but who knows why? All we know is that he's not here and can't compete for a championship tonight.
It is genuinely surprising because I think out of everyone in the entire area iRacing league, I think Hartz would be one of the last guys to be suspended. Just because we always talk about how nice he is, how clean he races with everyone else. So it is genuinely surprising to hear that suspension has happened. But again, looking now back at qualifying, David Weishart completing his attempt up on pole position. We'll see what the others can answer. Brad Slaughter is on lap number 2. Can he go a little bit faster?
Track record for David Weishart, 29.998. That was the 1,000th quicker than he ran in practice even, so that 33. New track record holder here in the Area Truck Series. Here comes Brad Slaughter Jr. out of turn 4. This is his second lap across the line, 30.109. It'll put him 3rd for now. I think he would have liked a little better, but clearly if you look in the past, his race pace here has been admirable, so we'll see if that translates. Travis Beckner now rolling onto the racetrack.
Getting up to speed in the 28 machine, one of the final playoff drivers to put a time down. Getting up to speed now, his competitors have put down their times, where you'll end up Cameron Hearn only in 4th. That was Derek Grant, a solid 30.099 in between Weiser and Brad.
Just about a 10th back from pole position. Here comes Beckner to start his flying lap. Jordan Martin jumps up to 5th place. Not a lot of takers here early in qualifying. It's been handful of minutes. We've only got 7 drivers on the board. Beckner real slow on the bottom of the racetrack in 1 and 2, but again, setting up for that second lap. And what did we learn last night, Finian? That Nashville is a very difficult track to pass on. I want to qualify up front. I want to stay up front. I want to play the tire strategy so that I have more tire than everyone else at the end of the race, because if you don't have the tire advantage and you don't have the track position, you're going to have a real hard time winning this race and winning this championship.
Yeah, and especially the track position, too. We saw that be extremely vital. Again, we didn't have a caution really mess up the track position and strategy for these guys last night, which could also very well be the case here tonight. We only got just about 20 drivers here on the grid, so the chance of a caution is, I would say, pretty low, especially if these guys do clean like they did last night. We'll see what happens. Beckner currently 8th, now back to 9th. Jeff Wilson was posted a faster time as he comes out of turn 4. I've seen a lot of guys get close to that outside wall. Beckner just keeps it off, comes across the apron, Does he go faster? Does he get on pole? He does not, but we'll
Front-
go up to second.
Front
Second
row.
place.
Yep, P2 for the 28. So all three of our present playoff competitors are in the front two rows, as other drivers now tripping the timing and scoring. AJ Roderick, 30.346 on lap 1, and we'll see what he can do on lap number 2. Jeffrey Wilson in the 85 up to third place. His teammate in the 5 truck, Jordan Hurley, was in the playoffs until last week's eliminations at Richmond.
Solid effort for the 85. Trying to look who else is out on track, putting a lap down. AJ Roderick in the 56. Oh, and here's an interesting thing. Jordan Hurley joined the server and then was removed by the admins. I'm not sure if he was suspended.
Maybe, because remember what happened last week. The drawing,
Hurley was suspended.
Drawing the caution, yep, so that explains that. Hurley was suspended by area. The 3 of Ryan Hart's was supposedly suspended by iRacing, and that must have happened.
A lot of suspensions.
That must have happened between last night and now. Or
yeah, I guess, yeah.
I mean, because he was here last night. I mean, obviously, I don't know that whatever got him suspended happened today, but it could have happened a few days ago, and a protest just hit. But that's strange to me. I don't. Something's not adding up.
Well, some people got a message from Nim. I'm sure Hart's is mentioning, like, why? What
is going on? He must have gotten confused with somebody. Someone protested the wrong person. I think he would have caught that, but here's Justin Anasogak in the 88. Rolling up to speed now out of turn 4. This is actually completing lap 1 for the Exalta Chevrolet Silverado, and it's time through a 34.61.
Back in 13th, but we'll see really what lap 2 is going to hold. That's the money lap for a lot of these drivers.
And as far as we know, and the area administrators know, and as far as Hartz knows, he has no idea what happened.
Yeah, I would be as confused as him. Again, assuming nothing did go wrong, and I really don't think he would have done anything wrong, especially considering he was just racing, like you said, was racing in a session last night. As Justin Ayasoga completes his qualifying effort up into 8th place.
Rafe Slate, the 08, now rolling up to speed. He's been in contention as recently as last week, was kind of up in the mix, slicing and dicing. And starting his 2nd lap this time around. Close at the top of the board, but all 3 of our present playoff competitors inside the top 5. As we saw last night, the cream rises to the top in these occasions, and they never really left those top 4 spots.
No. It was almost like the script writers working hard last night, because the top 4 championship 4 were the top 4, as you mentioned, pretty much the entirety of the race. They started there and they finished there.
Yeah, there's some people surmising that maybe there was an account sharing situation, but if that were the case, I think he would have a pretty good idea as to why. And I'm surprised that there wasn't usually you get an email if you've been protested.
Yeah.
Well, you should definitely get an email if you've gotten protested. So it's just it's a miss. I mean, I wouldn't know or anything, but it's been a while.
I've actually never been protested.
I
don't do a lot of official racing, but I've never been protested so far.
I think I've submitted 2 or 3 protests in my time, all in official racing, and they were for blatantly obvious.
Ooh, Wineland.
Wow,
saw
up
the
to
lap
P3
for the 21,
now,
up to 3rd.
Doesn't this sting extra for Eric, though? He, again, eliminated out of the playoffs last week and came up a little bit short, and here he goes, qualifies right behind the championship leaders. That's got to sting a little bit, and he just won't get a chance to compete for the championship tonight, but still fighting outside of the championship for positions in the points, so I think he'll have that to hold his head on. And race wins.
Yep, and looking at, let's see, we only got Matthew Cochran really only one left to qualify, and looks like he is not going to do so. So with just about a minute remaining in the session, it's going to be pretty much your grid as it is on the left-hand side of your screen, with Weisert starting on pole. Brad Slaughter back in 6th. And it's just kind of amazing, because I was just kind of looking through the previous statistics of the season. So Brad Slaughter is champion of this series, won in Season 1, was runner-up last season in Season 2. Both seasons, he got 4 wins apiece, but so total of 8 wins coming to this season, but none this season so far, and currently starting in 6th. So for Vlad Slaughter coming in on the back foot this season and this race in general, see if he can recover. He's not too not too terribly far back, but has a big hurdle with Beckner and Weisert starting in the front row.
Are we in for a Matt Kenseth 2003 situation here with that number 8 being in position to maybe just get one win and walk away with the championship while the others have to wait behind? We could see that tonight. If Brad wins the championship by winning the race, one win compared to the other 3 have 3 wins apiece.
Yeah. I think definitely is possible. I do think from the look of it, again, look the timing sheets in both practice and qualifying, I do think the champion is probably going to be the one that wins this race. Could be wrong. Could be very chaotic in this race for all we know. We saw clean and green last night. It could be all the yellows here tonight. We'll have to see when these drivers get on the grid what occurs.
So we're going to kick off here in just a moment with our race tonight. And again, for those that just joined us, this is the season finale for the Area Truck Series. 115 laps from Nashville Super Speedway. We saw earlier the track fact that this place is called Nashville Super Speedway just to differentiate it from the Nashville Fairgrounds. Nashville Fairgrounds, not too far away, so a little bit of differentiation now. And our starting grid sponsor is Roasted Gems Coffee. Fans, be sure to visit Roasted Gems Coffee for some of the finest coffee from all over the world. You can use discount code AREA iRacing for 10% off your order at roastedgems.com. Have a look at the weather here tonight. 77 in the air, 77 in the racetrack. We won't see that change a whole lot. We will see the track pick up some rubber on the bottom and probably not much else because it is a bottom-feeding racetrack here. No progressive banking, abrasive outside grooves. So really the bottom is where everyone is going to be, and they'll all be fighting for that inside lane.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how these trucks are going to race compared to the next-gen car, what we saw last night. Again, with, like you mentioned, very single file, a lot of bottom feeding. Can we potentially see that top or middle lane work? It's kind of hard to tell because I don't think it may work out because of, there's not enough banking, I would argue, for getting that top lane to work. But we could be surprised. Again, these trucks are very dependent on momentum. The outside lane could be exactly what they need.
So qualifying is complete, so is the warm-up period here, and in just a moment we're going to head down to the racetrack, 115 laps. Thanks for joining us again. If you just joined, live timing at simtvbroadcasting.com, and let's rack them up, stack them up, and get ready to roll through our grid. And it's a fairly small grid to round out the season here, Finney. Well, that means we're going to see a lot of green flag racing like we saw last night, and that means one thing, that you've got to get your strategy set. And if you're out front, you know that you can stay out a little bit longer, have better tires for the end. That's the strategy that won the race and the championship for Jake Nichols last night. I think that's the championship strategy everyone else is going to shoot for, is get out front, have that tire advantage, and be out front when it counts at the end.
Absolutely, and now that we got the guys on the grid, let's go through your starting lineup.
Kicking things off on row number 1. Of course, we mentioned it earlier, David Weisart with that new track record. He'll start alongside Travis Beckner, fighting for a championship as well. It is number 28, Rick's Hot Sauce Chevrolet. He'll be on second place on the outside of row 1.
Solid attempt from both first non-championship competitors. In row number 2, Eric Wineland starting in third place, with Jeffrey Wilson joining him in fourth place in the 85 car.
Row 3 has Garrett Grant, just eliminated from the playoffs last week. Brad Slaughter Jr., though, he's in the show in the championship hunt. He will start 6th in his number 8.
Back at 7th is going to be Jordan Martin in the 11 machine. Next to Justin Munsell in the 20 truck in 8th place.
9th place is Rafe Slate in the 08. Justin Asogak starts 10th in the number 88 truck.
Back in row 6 is going to be Cameron Hearn in the 67 machine on the inside. Bryce Senezek is going to be rolling off next to him in the 09 in 12th place.
13th place, row 7 is going to be AJ Rodriguez in the in the 56 Toyota Tundra, and Tom Bourne his outside, another Toyota Tundra, the number 16.
Back in 15th place is going to be Michael Leap in the 26 truck. Next to him, Cody Cutter in the 25 is going to be rolling up in 16th place.
17th place, Colin Fambro in the number 18. Chris Seidenfeiden rolls off alongside him in the 18th spot in the number 45.
And then rounding out your final starters is going to be Matthew Cochran rolling off in 19th place.
That is your starting lineup here tonight. Here's a quick look at your race analysis. Again, we mentioned that it's 115 laps, just shy of 150 miles, as the field rolls off a pit lane and heads up onto the banking here at Nashville Super Speedway. One last look at the weather here as the air is cooling off just a little bit. Not that humid of a night either. We're going to have lots of power in these trucks. 115 laps from green flag to checkered is about 57 minutes, which means this race is going to go by really, really quickly. Fuel stop-wise, you're going to do this on one stop, I believe. You're going to stop right around lap 55 to 65 cut this race right in half and go to the end.
Here's see what we have in store here again. Championship, or two of our championship, 3 on the front row. Brad Slaughter a little bit further back in 6th place. Has a little bit of work to do to get near the front. And then, of course, all of the other drivers still, they're not fighting for a championship, but they're definitely going to be fighting for a win. Let's see what happens here.
Who you got winning this thing, Finian? Championship and the race.
Oh, I think I'm going to have to put money. I mean, statistically, it's one of his best tracks. I'm going to say Brad Slaughter in the 8 truck.
I'm going to pick the 8 as well. I think we're both in agreement there. I think he's got the best shot historically here at Nashville Super Speedway. Time to go racing. The season finale for the Area Truck Series is underway. Green flag flies and we're racing in Music City. And the engines roar to life. The sweetest music of all. Lap 1 complete. David Weishart leads the way. Beckner slots into 2nd place, and the 8 got swarmed on the start. Back to 6th. He was middle 3 wide there on the opening lap. Fitting not the way to start, but now he can focus forward and maybe get some momentum, or maybe save some tire and have a run a little bit later in the day. This is going to be a long play tonight for sure.
Jeffrey Olsen, he got a poor start. I'm not sure if that was on purpose. He was trying to let the 8 on by, and then Jordan Martin was on the inside, so he was basically pretty wide. And Martin, too, he got really loose on the bottom. That might be something to keep out for these guys, especially with cold tires on a restart. Could be disastrous to be on that bottom side and trying to push a little bit too hard.
Whoa, the 09 of Senesac had a moment. A couple trucks scraped the wall out of turn 4. We're 3 abreast again. The 18 of Fambro's in the middle. Roderick on the bottom. He's loose. Bouncing off the apron. This is getting spicy back here. Maybe this won't go green all the way like we maybe surmised from the Cup race last night.
Yeah, it looked like a lot more, the Cup cars were a lot more on rails. These trucks here are sliding around quite a bit in the middle and on exit of the corner, especially with how close they are racing and how hard they're racing for position here in the early goings.
On board on the outside of Bryce Senesac. That is for 10th place. And on the apron is Rafe Slate. We saw Beckner doing that a lot last night in the Cup Series race. Whoa, the 25 up the racetrack. Cody Cover, big slide in turn 1. And behind them, who's that, Seidenfeld that had to bail out of it? That's the 26th
so,
truck,
yeah.
Michael Light, rather, in the Tide Ride.
Yeah, they did about drop back down to 17th position. As the top 2 of Weishart and Beckner are completely checked out from the rest of the pack.
It is a fierce fight back here. Tom Bourne, Fambro, Justin Munsell, who got his first win in area competition a couple of weeks ago in the Lodgebox Series. Or was it it was the Lodgebox Series, right? Or was it the trucks? Couldn't remember which.
I can't remember which either.
I think it was the Lodgebox Series. Here comes Wilson, the outside of Brad Slaughter, actually vice versa. The 8 on the inside of the 85, and now moves ahead of him up into 5th place, so reclaiming his starting position in that red number 8 Lumar truck.
Successful in getting that position back. Cameron Hermos tries to snake his way on through the inside of the 85, will also make the pass on Wilson.
Feel pretty spicy back here in turns 1 and 2. Those asking about couldn't the 3 log on in someone else's account? Well, that could also be protested, not that anybody would. Also, it depends on the type of ban. It can be IP ban, or it can be account ban, local, area ban. There's a variety of different types of bans iRacing can choose. And we're not really clear which one and or why for that matter. So I don't know that Hartz really could have done much about it tonight, unfortunately. And now that the race has started, Finian, his title hopes slip away. It's all for naught tonight.
Oh yeah, it's completely gone out the window, and it is a bit unfortunate in that respect. So he's gonna have to sit this one out. His teammate Travis Beckner gonna have to carry the flag for Jacob Bell Racing, try to take that championship home, and fight with Weishart.
Senesac still rolling the outside lane. This is a battle for 15th place, and it has not subsided. Even after 8 laps of competition, they are fighting hard for this. And Weishart leads right now, and that gap is slightly growing over Beckner, but they both, as you mentioned a few laps ago, have put some distance on Eric Wineland. Brad Slaughter Jr., though, last time by was quicker than everybody ahead of him, and everybody except Cameron Hearn behind him.
Yeah, curious to see how he's going to get it done again. Brad Slaughter Jr., a driver for David Weishart Racing. David Weisert's team, so both of them teammates and in the same Discord channel as well is a bunch of other drivers near the top of the order, so I'm curious to see if they're going to be sharing some information, potentially working together.
Sometimes working together in the oval racing context is just not getting in each other's way.
Yes.
But if this was a true super speedway, that might be a different story. But of course, they lied on their resume at Nashville.
And actually Slaughter just got passed by Cameron Hearn for 5th place, so Hearn up inside the top 5 for the first time tonight. And actually up 6 spots, started 11th. Made some good progress forward.
Colin Fambro moving forward pretty quickly as well. 17th up to 8th in this 18 truck. Could he throw a wrench in things up front with how quickly he's climbing? Not maintaining as much pace, but he's also had a lot more traffic. And the 8 truck has run down the 67 again, and they've got the 46 right in their crosshairs here. So this could get pretty interesting. And look at Rafe Slate to the bottom on the apron again, loose on the apron, almost to the grass underneath Tom Bourne in the 16.
Yeah, and he wasn't on the apron too long ago when we saw them going 3 wide into turn 1. So Zero-8's been trying to make some moves. He's actually lost 2 spots. Might get one of those back here. He's going to go aggressively to the outside of Tom Bourne on the back straightaway.
On the outside, we did not see that work at all last night. It was all bottom-feeding passes. And if you can make a move on the outside here, 11 laps into a run, I'm going to call that a success. And Rafe is almost clear of that 16 truck.
Yeah, I'm not too surprised again with the trucks needing so much, where a lot of the speed is built with carrying momentum in and out of the corners. It's not surprising that the outside is the one lane that works. You see it time and time again at many tracks where the outside lane is typically faster. But up for 3rd place, they'll battle Garrett Grant, Eric Wineland duking out in 3 and 4. Ooh, and a little bit of contact between Grant and Wineland off 4.
If they touched, it was just barely. Here comes Cameron Hearn now into the mix to make it a 3-horse race for 3rd place. And that outside groove, I did not expect that. Wineland trying to hang tough. Again, last night it was completely unusable, so the fact that drivers are finding speed up there is really intriguing to me and could change the entire premise of this race. If you can find speed on the outside and have a way to pass somebody without knocking them out of the way, that could change things, especially for guys that have been out front like David Weishart.
And it looks like Wineland's just about to clear. Garrett Grant can't quite get there. You can see Cameron Hearn making up a huge head full of steam, just nowhere to quite go. He has a chance of forcing it 3 wide, but I think he's going to play this patient. I think he sees that Garrett Grant may be the one to lose out. He's on the top lane trying to follow Wineland through, but Wineland's still struggling to clear.
And look who's back. Brad Slaughter Jr. has these 3, all non-playoff competitors, right ahead of him. If he could get it past all 3 of these drivers, he'd be right in the mix behind Beckner and Weishart. Whoa, slide spin. The 21 spins, collects the 46. They're in the wall. The 8 escapes disaster. More cars get in it, and it's a big crash on the front straightaway.
They're still wrecking on the infield. Wow.
Holy cow.
I looked away from my screen for 1 second to check something out, and they're wrecking off of turn 4. That happened extremely quickly.
Wow, that is wild. I would replay this. My cat is biting my wrist, so I can't reach. Okay, here we go. Let's go see what happened. We kind of caught it on right there. The 46 slips up. Oh, the 67, that is going to be terminal damage for him. But then as they slid down the racetrack, collects the 45. More.
And we got to definitely right on board Brad Slaughter Jr., who probably just had a mini heart attack when this happened. We'll take a look at your slow-mo here.
Yeah, the 46, he hit the apron and slid up into the 21. He didn't just turn up. He hit the apron, bounced up, and then the 67 back across the road. And then here comes Seidenfeiden trying to find a gap and just manages to pick the perfect line to drill the 67 right in the nose. So that is going to hurt. Here's Seidenfeiden's on board, and then we'll watch on board the 8. And not much, I mean, he was just doing his best to escape and just took the only line where there wasn't trucks, and then there was a truck. And then you mentioned the 8. Here's what he saw at the roll bar. Great reaction time there to check up.
And another great onboard, too, would be Tom Bourne. He narrowly avoided Garrett Grant as he was spinning down into the infield.
Oh, man, that's close.
Narrowly avoided here, and as we come back live, pit stops have come and gone. However, there is a mix-up near the top of the order from quite a few guys choosing not to pit. Or was quite a few guys. Actually, Cody Cutter very slow on the apron. Not sure what he's doing.
So a little bit of a scrappy mix-up here as everyone tries to. Well, now the 09's coming on down.
Oh, here they come on down. Not sure maybe they weren't caught up to the pace car when it was time to pit. Not sure what that was, but now now everyone's pitting.
All right, so that will cycle Travis Beckner to the front. He's going to win the race off pit lane ahead of David Weishart. Move the 28 to P1. And we've had a caution for the first time this week at Nashville. I don't even know how long the pace laps are here because we haven't had it yet.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's been pretty green the first run. I'm just kind of looking here. Okay, so I was trying to figure out, because it's showing David Weiser didn't pit. I was trying to figure what that was. He did pit.
It doesn't show a box time for me.
Yeah, no, he did go in the box and serve his car, so he didn't make a pit stop because it almost looked, on our timing scoring is showing that he almost basically just drove through pit lane and didn't pit, which wouldn't have made any sense because Travis Beckner beat him out. But Weiser did get service to his car. But how about Brad Sauter Jr. getting very lucky? He had all three of the guys, the three of the non-championship guys he was racing with, all conveniently take themselves out in front of him.
Well, and those three drivers that got taken out, those were all really fast drivers that would have probably played into how this outcome of this race was going to go. So cleared the way, parted the seas, and now the 8 will be right in the mix with his championship competitor. So certainly worked out for the 8. I don't think Weishart was thrilled to see that. He had a pretty commanding lead. And this is going to throw a strategy for Loop. You're still going to have to come back to pit lane again. So you have to kind of redo your calculations now and reformat. Plus you have a restart you have to make it through. So I think the front two, Beckner and Weishart, were probably not thrilled about having to navigate this caution flag situation.
Yeah, you can see the script writers working overtime as the top three have found themselves in the top three coming to this restart.
So the field's lined up, double filed again. Quick look here at our race recap thus far. 18 laps complete, 98 laps to go. One caution for 3 laps, 2 different leaders, but of course Beckner is now your race leader after taking it away from Weishart in pit lane. And back to the green here at lap 19 of 115. So still plenty of racing to go, but already we have seen a lot more raciness out of this field and this group of trucks than we saw in pretty much the entire race last night, where all the drivers were left pretty disappointed in the fact that they couldn't do anything different than just kind of follow the driver in front of them. So I think the drivers are looking forward to this now that they've kind of gotten a glimpse of what this track has in store for the trucks.
Yeah, let's see what they can do now, especially with the top 3 together. Now on fresh tires with the pace car ducting off. Let's see how much racing we got in these guys.
Lap 19 coming back to the green flag here in the Area Truck Series. Season finale from Nashville. Green flag flies. We're back underway. And the field is pretty severely impacted by those 3 trucks that are out, Grant, Seidenfeiden, and Hearn. Looks like we've lost half the field, but really it was just 3 trucks.
Yeah, getting 3 really fast trucks there, but one driver who wasn't fast, Weishart on that restart. Poor restart, that allows Slaughter to get through, and now Slaughter actually going to dive out and let Weishart back on through, maybe trying to do an over-under here on the exit.
Or maybe some strategy to save some tire. Again, who knows how long this race could go green for. We're not necessarily guaranteed to have more yellows, even though we just had our first of the week in the Area Series at Nashville. So maybe planning for the long game, doing the Jake Nichols strategy of saving some tire early in the run.
In behind them, Jeffrey Wilson, Kellen Famro fighting hard for 4th place. They go side by side on the back straightaway, and behind the race slate, Tom Bourne about to duke it out.
And 2 by 2 here for 4th place. And Fambro again started dead last. Here he is fighting for 4th place. They almost touch out of turn 4.
They did touch a little bit of contact between the two. Fambro trying to poke his nose through. And we're talking about a lot of the fast guys getting taken out on that first wreck. Still got Colin Fambro, who we mentioned, to start from the back, drove his way up near the front in the top 4. He could potentially be a threat to these top 3 if he can get clear.
Good little battle formulating here as the leaders try to step away half a second up the road. Beckner leads by 2/10, then it's Weishart, then it's a 10th back to Brad Slaughter Jr. as these 4 continue to scrap and scrum back here. Justin Sogak, Gordon Martin into the mix now as well.
And Colin Fambro is going to just slide in front of the 85 and clear him. Off into turn 1 right slate now, trying to follow through on the bottom. I think he should just be clear of the 85. Not quite. Wilson fighting back on the top side.
On board with Jordan Martin. Watching all this out the windshield. There's a gnarly bump in turn 4, and I wonder if that's what got Garrett Grant sideways to start with. He ended up on the apron, but I don't think it was a case of just turning too much. I think he probably hit that bump, and then the truck kind of stepped out onto the banking, and that's what snapped the truck back around. So every time I see these trucks nose to tail this close, I'm thinking about how much the bump in turn 4 upsets the chassis and how much compensation drivers have to do. Here comes the 33 of Weishart back to the lead in the championship.
Oh, and Weishart actually going to hit the apron a little bit, check up to the outside, almost making contact with the 28. Side-by-side tight action here in Nashville. Across the line, almost in a tie. Weishart with just a little bit of a better run on the bottom.
This is a great fight, but look how close this is. Any little slide, and it's game over for both these drivers. And Brad Slaughter Jr. loves seeing this. They touch the 28 sideways out of turn 2.
And they save it. Slaughter taking advantage. Gets a great run now. Going to get past the 33. Can't quite get to the 28.
Brad Slaughter Jr. up to second place as they still fight behind. Ray Slade up to 4th. Colin Fambro bounces off the quarter panel as they navigate down the front straightaway. And now for the lead, the 8 truck has run Beckner down.
Now Slaughter has a choice to make here. Does he take the lead immediately now, or does he maybe try to ride in the coattails of the 28 and see what he does?
Into turn 3. I don't know that the 28's the fastest truck. He's not able to really drive away like Weishart did in the opening laps of the race. But 33 leaned on the 28, and that'll be something that Travis will log in the memory bank for later as well. Keep that in mind. I don't think it was intentional, but
no,
this is gloves off.
It definitely wasn't. There's a lot of net code in between both those trucks making contact, so I would imagine Beckner may play it off nice. If he does know that wasn't net code, maybe he doesn't. Maybe, like you mentioned, gonna log it in the memory books for later.
Oh, they'll log it. I don't think they don't consider the intention when they write things down in that mental logbook. They just write down what happened.
Well, in a way, it did work out better for Beckner because he did get the lead.
And they, again, every night we've seen that the playoff competitors just end up at the top of the ticker. No matter what you do, how you do it, they end up there. Beckner, Slaughter, and Weishart. And we're just missing Ryan Hartz again, suspended, we think, from iRacing for some unknown reason. Couldn't join tonight and will lose his championship fight opportunity because of that. And he was pretty disappointed last night in how this track raced, and he tried to make it in here tonight to compete for the championship that he had a real shot of winning. And it's all stepped away, and he's just watching from the sidelines tonight, so that's a frustrating scenario.
Yeah, there's got to be a helpless feeling as a driver. Your championship race is coming up. You have a really solid shot of winning, like you mentioned, and can do nothing but sit and watch from his couch.
Front 3 still pretty close together. Beckner's not putting any distance on him. And Weishart's back, so maybe that'll pressure Brad Slaughter Jr. into doing something.
Yeah, again, curious to see maybe if Slaughter wants to let Weiser back through and maybe let him battle with the 28. You know, what's the better game plan
yeah,
here?
Definitely. Let them go and let them crash each other. That's if I'm the 8, that's what I just saw what they just did to each other. I'm absolutely going to let them get into the ring and throw a couple punches. Why not? A lot of racing.
Well, the issue is if 33 gets clear, then he might not have a chance to catch him back up. But here's Slaughter now on the outside, almost hits the wall off into turn 1, trying to get this run on the outside going.
Ooh, Beckner really tight to the apron in 1 and 2. And this outside line, something you could not do last night. Here comes Brad Slaughter Jr., won the previous races here at Nashville Super Speedway. And if he can do it again tonight, he would get his only win of the season and walk away with a championship. But Beckner fights back on the bottom and almost clears the 8 out of 4.
And you can see how much better that outside lane is in 1 and 2 compared to 3 and 4. And that really has to do a lot with the exit, because the exit is so tight off in turn 2, that inside lane has to pinch their car and they bleed off a lot of speed. But on turn 4, the exit's a lot more open. They can carry more momentum on the bottom. But here's Slaughter barely getting back to the outside off of 2 here on the back straight. He's going to try for attempt number 2.
Beckner didn't have to give him that lane. He let him go up there. He could have kind of washed across the nose, but you're in a position of strength on the bottom, I think. You still have control over whether or not that guy gets around you, because all you have to do is open up the wheel a little bit, run him up the hill, and call it a day. And there's not really any banking here to save you, because this track is not progressively banked. You get out of the groove, and you're going up into the wall.
Here comes Slaughter back on the outside in 1 and 2. I remember mentioned that outside a little bit better on this side of the racetrack. It's a great run. Don't think it's going to quite clear the 28. Beckner's still going to be there as they barely make contact.
That was so tight into turn 3. The 8 throttles up on the outside. Here they go. Side by side, bring Weishart into the mix. Champions going at it here in the Area Truck Series.
Going at it, Brad Slaughter's going to lead to that lap. Not that it matters at this point. Going to work back on the outside.
Look who's coming. Rafe Slade in the 08. He has joined the party as well. 4-horse race for first place.
Now, if you're Rafe, what do you do here? Because you want to obviously get the lead, but you obviously know that these guys are fighting for something a lot bigger than just the win in this race.
You know that gif of the guy with the lawn chair where he just like straightens out his arm and the lawn chair unfolds?
Yeah.
You're doing that. I'm going to spectate this, and I'm going to drive by when it all falls out of the sky in a burning flame. Great fight here, though. This is, I mean, multiple side-by-side battles. I mean, this is not what we saw last night by any stretch. It's like a completely different track.
Yeah, that's why I was so interested in seeing how the trucks race here. A completely different package from the next-gen car, and it's showing here on the track here with a side-by-side battle for the lead that's been going on for, what, 5-6 laps now? And they still haven't figured out who they want to be in front.
Ooh, Weishart threw a block on Rafe Slade. Big time there.
Yeah, Weiser telling him, nope, you're going to be a spectator in this.
Well, I think Rafe Slade is tossing back the lawn chair. He's going for it here to the bottom for third place. And that'll be endlessly frustrating for Weishart, but Rafe signed up for a race, didn't he?
Yep, he did sign up for a race here. He's still fighting with Weiser now, 2x2 for the lead. And it's probably going to remain 2x2 as they're still side by side up in the top spot.
So close here at the front of the field. Inches between them. And still so many laps to go. We're only 35 laps into an 115-lap race. And whose tires are wearing out more? I think there's more rubber on the bottom, but the 8 truck looks pretty content up top.
And he got really close to dooring each other, pretty much dooring each other in between 1 and 2.
Now Fambro and Tom Bourne have made it up to the back of Rafe Slade and Weishart's battle. Weishart stuck on the outside, and he doesn't seem to have the drive that the 8 truck does, so he could lose another couple spots here, and that would put him in trouble, I think, for when he gets that run sorted out later in the race. He's got to pass more trucks than the other 2. Oh, good run for the 28 through there.
You can see the entire top 7 all within a second of each other, nose to tail. As Beckner finally clears, who does Brad Slaughter move to the bottom? He gives Beckner a little bit of a tap to upset the car. And now trying to look to the bottom side, Beckner cutting him off.
Weishart, as you mentioned, re-clears Rafe Slade out of turn 4. Everyone's single file again, but for how long?
At the rate we're going at, probably can't be for too long, as Fambro, you mentioned, way down low onto the bottom. Trying to get past Rafe Slade as Weiser throws a block on the 18.
And Weishart, with that, is right back to the bumper of the 8. He's losing grip on the 28's rear bumper. Beckner has put some distance on him this lap. Also, these two are having a little scrap. Michael Leip in the 26 and the 85 and the 25, both from 5 Wide Sports.
Ooh, and Leip going to catch a little bit of the wall heading off into turn 1 as they still duking out side by side. It's a battle for 10th place, and Cutover going to just barely get on by Leip, not quite.
Here comes Weishart on Slaughter. Did Slaughter use up the tires on that right side, being out of the groove? Slaughter's going to try to tuck back in line behind 33.
Ooh,
good run.
Shifting.
He did downshifted to 3rd in turns 3 and 4, and it worked for him. Look at the run he got out of 4.
Great run for him heading now into turn 1 and 2. And again, I have to imagine with these two potentially working together, maybe if this Slaughter saying, okay, I kind of had a crack at him, could it get by? Maybe you go have a crack at him and see what he can do.
Watch the gearing here. I wonder if they'll try that again. We're about a 2nd and 3/10 off from our best lap. There it is, downshift to 3rd. I don't know that it worked for him that well that time through. You use a little bit of time because these are still H-pattern manual gearboxes, so you have to lift out of the throttle to get the car and the truck in gear. It's not like the, I mean, you still have to do it with the Cup car, but that's a sequential transmission. The shifts happen a lot faster. Weishart's shifting in 1 and 2 as well.
Yeah, both of them, I think, again, he's changing some information. Both of them are shifting. Beckner is not, trying to see if they can get one more edge on the 28.
So there's a couple things at play here. when you downshift, not only are you getting your engine back in its optimal torque and power curve, the other two things that are happening is that you're helping the truck rotate by kind of releasing increasing the load on the transmission. You're kind of twisting the chassis to kind of mold through the corner. The other thing is there's a gyroscopic effect at higher RPM that will help you turn to the left and not to the right. And that will also just very slightly help you rotate through the corner. And I think the other thing is it slows you down a little bit. So when you've got worn out tires, you're over slowing a little bit, which can actually help you and keep you from understeering and scrubbing your right front tires. There's many things at play when you're shifting on an oval. And I guess I can't say I'm surprised with this fall off, with this low grip of a racetrack.
And it definitely looks like the shifting's helping Weishart more than it is Brad Slaughter. Weishart's got all the way back up to 28. Slaughter's now fallen 5 tenths of a second behind the 33. As now Weishart tries to make a move, and now he's up to the back bumper. Beckner now, what does he do?
Down the front straightaway. Into turn one, Weishart's closing, and he's been faster than Beckner the last handful of laps. Remember the last time the 33 tried to make a pass, they made contact. How much negative energy does Beckner hold in his heart for Travis Beckner for that one, or vice versa? I can tell you that their tempers have been short this season with each other.
And we can see maybe tonight finally the boiling point. The heck of a place to have a fallout because of the championship line between these two. We imagine that Beckner is going to be aggressive, and we've seen Beckner be aggressive when he needs to. And you can imagine he's definitely going to be aggressive with a championship on the line.
We had a very cordial event last night. Not a lot of funny business being played. And I think we're about due for some drama. And if it doesn't come on Thursday, it must come tonight. And there's a fight.
I mean, we already started with drama before the race even started with Hart's not being able to race.
I would just say that one of the biggest improvements iRacing could make is give you a character. You can climb out of your car and use the WASD keys and walk over and right click and smack somebody in the face. And then if you win the fight, you gain 15 iRating from them.
And then if you lose another 15?
Yes.
I guess you should put that in the suggestion spread.
So many potato responses, but that was one of my favorite things iRacing did with the new forums. Was they have a word filter for all the gnarly words, and they replace it with potato. So when someone comes in all mad, and they're like, Mike, potato, something or other, potato, like it just makes no sense. It's incoherent rambling about Irish potato farming or something. A lot of downshifting here. Now, Beckner, I wonder if he is doing the same. I think most of the field has probably figured out that hack by now.
Yeah, I heard a lot of the rest of the field when I was kind of going through. Heard a lot of shifting amongst everyone else where it spread pretty quickly.
And we're probably approaching, in not too many laps, your pit window to make it to the end. I don't think we'll see the front runners come for a while. There are 3 drivers out of the race: Garrett Grant, Chris Seidenfeld, and Cameron Hearn, all involved in a collision on lap number 24. That started with the 46 understeering and bouncing off of a couple trucks and sending them into the wall as Colin Fambro and Justin Anisogak are grading spots for 5th place. The 88 truck is also one that started a little bit deeper, 10th up to 5th. Good solid run for the 88 so far. He started as a playoff competitor, just didn't make it to the round of 8.
Yeah, and I'm kind of watching him. He's been working really well in the later part of this run. He was fighting with Tom Bohr not too long ago, got blicked past him. Now it's just past Colin Fambro, so now inside the top 5. He can potentially drive up there and potentially start to make some noise.
Now that we've got the field spread out, remember, lap 24 was when we had our first crash. We're at lap 40 or 50 now, so we are just past that marker from where we had our prior caution. The field is much more spread out this time. If I had to make a guess, Finney, and we're going to go green for a while. So plan your strategy as such.
Yeah, I think he's going to be coming up on a green flag pit stop part and something crazy happening. But you never know. You never quite know. Especially with the top few guys fighting really hard against himself. You have to see Weiser make a move on the 20 and Beckner, and as you mentioned before, last time they're side by side, it almost went disastrous.
Wonder what's going on in Brad Slaughterland. He's running 31.7s, which are about 2/10 off of those ahead of him. Wonder how much of that is burned up tires, or if he's maybe got a little bit left in the tank, saving tires, but I don't know what that would do for you at this stage of the race.
Yeah, maybe he's trying to save for a little bit later in the stint, but that stint is coming to a close pretty quickly. So like you mentioned, I can't see that doing him a whole lot of good now. We see A.J. Roger fighting side by side with Wilson off into turn 1 will win.
Now that time,
Levenfield go.
Brad Slaughter Jr. ran an identical lap time to Travis Beckner, a 31.693. And Weishart was just a hair quicker than both of them. So maybe the 8 isn't really that far off. Could have been an outlier.
And this time through, it'll be interesting to see if you can keep that pace going. You need to start reeling him in, though. And that time through, actually, you reeled in Beckner by a couple hundredths of a second.
Yeah, Weishart seems a little bit trapped right now. He doesn't have the ability to get right up to the bumper of the 28 like he did previously. So now that the track's rubbering in, I think we're starting to see a little bit more tendencies like we saw last night. When the track was still green, green meaning no rubber on the racetrack, it did seem pretty racy, but that is beginning to kind of fall away the longer this run goes on.
And last time through, Slaughter lost a little bit of time, so he's a bit inconsistent in the 8 machine, catching a few laps and then losing a few laps. You look back on Fambro, Jordan Martin, about to duke it out. His 18's starting to drop back.
Fambro charged all the way from 17th up to 5th and is beginning a rearward slide now, and I think you have to wonder if the tires were a part of that. But everyone has come to pit lane, so anything he did on the initial run where he gained a lot of those spots has been amended by a tire swap.
So I was just doing the math in my head around when these guys might come into pit lane. Halfway through the stint would be around lap 70. So I think 65, 75, we're probably going to see these guys start to come in, so in about 10 laps time. And really now that we've seen, again, with the way these trucks have been driving, do you want to undercut or overcut?
The fall off is as significant as it was last night. We saw what the 91 pulled off, but there is diminishing returns on that. We saw that happen with the 24 Curran Finian, where he pitted after the 91 and didn't have enough tire to run him down, and he couldn't have afforded to wait any longer because he would have run out of laps even if he was faster at the end. So there is a magic lap number that I think you need to pit at to overcut properly, but it depends on when everyone else pits around you. So I would rather do an overcut, but I don't want to be the last person to pit. I want to overcut by a very calculated number, and I want to make sure that no one behind me has a better calculation for that number and does the same thing to me. What I don't want to also be is the first guy to pit lane, because I'm going to be at a tire disadvantage. I might get some short-term gain, long-term loss, but that is not the way to win a championship. We saw that last night. That was the case for Ricky Springer and others. It just didn't work out.
Yeah, I think I definitely have to agree with you all. Based on what we saw last night, I want to go for just a slight overcut over the competitors to see Martin and Fambro side by side. This battle for 6th place, who was dooring each other on the front straightaway.
And it wasn't like an incredibly small overcut that Jake Nichols did. It was about 10 laps, but they're still going to rub doors out of turn 2. This is getting spicy.
It's starting to get really spicy. Is there going to be even more contact heading to turn 3? It just seems like every time you make just a little bit of contact with someone, you just kind of feel like you want to make more and more contact with them.
The cars are magnetized after that initial contact. It's like when you take a magnet to a screwdriver and then it starts magnetizing itself.
Oh, yeah. Getting into the straightaway again.
Well, here's the difference with the trucks and the magnets analogy is that if these two rub together, they're both screwed drivers. So in that case...
But
working lap
Eric
60.
Weinman being putting a lap down as Beckner just got faster.
That will separate out the leaders even more. Weishart has dropped more. He was kind of on the heels of Beckner. Now he's about 0.8 of a second back. Wineland again with that significant damage after the collision with the 46. That truck is about a foot shorter than it was when it started the race.
Yeah, I'm really surprised by how much Beckner's starting to break away from Weiser and Brad Slaughter. Oh,
Yeah.
Slaughter! Oh, Slaughter about to miss pit lane. He's going to come through the grass. That was a very last-second move.
Did he get it woed down, though? I think he did.
He did. No penalty.
Yeah, but I don't like this. Again, this is what I just mentioned. I don't want to be the first of the playoff competitors to come to pit lane. Here's what happened.
Yeah, that was very... He looked like he was going to keep on going, and then the last second just made the left turn onto pit lane. I thought he was going to miss the cone, but barely made it.
So if Beckner and Weishart are thinking about this, they're not going to pit now because they're going to trap him in a situation where he's got inferior tires for the end of the race, as Jordan Martin is going to come to pit lane. A little bit cooler entry than we saw with the 8. But the 8 has won races here before, so there might be something he knows that we don't.
Yeah, I'm just a bit surprised because, again, I was expecting these guys to go a little bit longer. Even earlier than what I was thinking these guys would come down.
Well,
again, I was thinking more lap 70.
We've gone 62 laps on this run. We've done about 40-something.
Yeah.
So, and this is only about 53 to the end. So we're a little bit before that halfway mark, but not by a whole lot. Here comes Colin Fambro.
We're going to come on and still got majority of the field out there running laps, especially Beckner and Weishart.
Cody Cutrer in the 25 and Tom Bourne in the 16. This is for 5th place now. Keeping the eyes glued to the timing screen on the speeds to see who's next to come. There's a 25 on the 16 now.
He's going to make his way through, and Brian Slaughter's in behind both these guys with a head full of steam with his fresh tires. You can see him coming into frame.
Wow, holy, it's like he's in a different class. And he actually got through that pretty effectively. So he's going to cycle out to the lead. That's true. But is he going to be able to hang on? It's a long run to the end of the race from here. And you're going to lose your tires a lot quicker than those that are going to pit later, especially now that Beckner and Weishart are putting 5-10 extra laps on this set. They're going to be charging up from the rear. So this is that magic number I talked about earlier. Is like you have to know how much you can stay out and still have time to run down the 8, and know that if someone else stays out a little bit longer than you, that they won't have time to run you down or not have a significant enough advantage to overcome your tires. So it's basically you're playing a middle ground here of when you pit, but you're kind of leaning towards later generally. It's just that is a pretty precise number. And it's some of it's a mathematical calculation. If you know how fast you can run and how fast fresh tires are and how quickly they fall off, you're not doing this in your head, but you could calculate this, and some drivers are really good. Jake Nichols, we've seen, are really good at doing that math and figuring out when they need to come.
Yeah, and also you see Justin Muntz on the screen there. He actually was trying to come down pit lane last time by, ended up deciding a little bit too late, and he decided to bail out. Now he's finally going to make his way on the pit lane this time through.
Weishart's on pit lane from 2nd. And this is going to force the hand of Beckner because these two were running so close together. So Beckner might stay out a lap or 2, but any longer than that, and that could be playing with fire.
Here's to see what he's going to plan to do. Does he want to go for the overcut? What we saw with
no, he's coming.
Last night, or does he want to cut him off? And here he comes.
Down onto pit lane, Travis Beckner. He'll have 1 lap fresher tires than the 33. Now most of the field has made their second stop. A handful of drivers still out there. Cody Cutrer, Tom Bourne, Travis Beckner. As Beckner now hits pit lane, he's on clean. And the 33 is away.
Wayne catching back up to speed, and of course Slade and Brad Sauter are going to be ahead of him by quite a margin.
So the 33 rejoins the racetrack. He's in turns 3 and 4. The 8 is at the start-finish line. But we still have almost 50 laps to go. So Brad, I think, is going to be fighting a losing battle here later. Where is the 24? He's rolling out of pit lane now. 28, rather.
And Weiser caught a bit in traffic. He is not going to get there in time. Beckner is going to be out in front.
That was a big win for the 28. Got out of pit lane with a lap fresher tires ahead of the 33. Didn't get up to speed very well. That 33 ran him down a bit more. And just threw, oh, no, spin. The 18 goes around, caution out.
And that, I think, was exactly what Brad Slaughter was hoping on.
That was exactly what Brad Slaughter was hoping for. Caution out for the second time, lap number 70. Colin Fambro goes around for a spin. Drifts up here out of
off the nose of Martin.
Yeah, just drifted up a little bit into the 11. The 33 scrambles to the grass and back up the racetrack. Here's what he saw. Wow.
Ooh, second year miss for a championship competitor.
So, Brad Slaughter has a tire disadvantage now, but it's going to help him not get run down immediately. And it's going to bunch the field back up and bring out the possibility for another caution flag, and it trapped a handful of drivers a lap down, which I imagine they'll take the wave around here. So second caution on the night, and this is going to mix things up a little bit because we have about 20 minutes of racing left when we go back green finning, and there's enough drivers fighting for it that I don't think we're done having yellows yet, and that's exactly what Brad Slaughter Jr. needs in his current scenario.
Yeah, I think he's going to be hoping that this next part of the race is going to be very messy. And the reason why we're saying this is exactly what he needed is because realistically, looking at the Beckner and Weiser getting back on the track, they would have been able to track him down had it gone green. And I think that the reason Slaughter pit early was he was just hoping to pit early, get out, get ahead of those guys, hope a caution comes out, then he has a track position now in the lead. Now, what we mentioned, what he's got to hope for now is there's got to be some restarts to get more heat cycles and equal out the tires between the two, and then he'll effectively have the lead. The question is, can he hold on to the lead for long enough?
Well, see what happens here. Drivers that needed to pit are going to come on down. The 8 is going to come down to pit lane as well. He's going to have a tire advantage now, but not by a ton. That might not matter a lot. We'll see. I like this though. You know, you might as well. You're not going to lose a ton of spots.
No, he isn't, because a lot of the field is a lap down and needing a wave around. But so I think he'll only go back to around 7th or 8th.
Yeah, and he's going to have a 5-lap tire advantage on Beckner and Weishart, which, considering that they're not running under full green flag pace, isn't going to be as big. But it's still, I mean, that was at least 3 laps of good hard running there for the 33 and 28. So it will be an advantage of some sort for the 8. And that was lucky, I'll say. If that race went green to the end, that 8 truck was in big trouble.
No. So he's going to come out back in 7th place now with brand new fresh tires. See if he can catch back up to the leaders. So this will be interesting to watch.
So caution is out for the second time today, and thanks for joining us here for the Area Truck Series season finale. We've had a couple SimWrap Market replays tonight. Fans, be sure to check out simwrapmarket.com for custom iRacing paint scheme templates that are simple to use and help you stay more focused on the racetrack. 28 truck is carrying the Rick's Hot Sauce colors tonight. Fans, be sure to check out rickshotsauce.com for some of the best hot sauces made locally in South Florida. Be sure to follow the Rick's Hot Sauce Rookie of the Year battle that is already concluded. That was Michael Currahan's win last night. So he took the $100 prize as the highest finishing rookie in the point standings in the Rick's Hot Sauce Rookie of the Year battle. All right, trucks restacking. And the 8 truck rolls out in 6th. I like where he's at. I like his position.
He's going to have a solid starting spot here. Let's see how quickly he can use those fresh tires. Again, it's not too significant of an advantage, but an advantage nonetheless that he has on those two, and that's definitely what he needed instead of being 1 down. And the big question, really, I think, is, and we were talking about this earlier, are we done having cautions?
No.
I think you and I both think
well,
that's a definite no.
You know, it is possible that we could go green to the end. I just think now that we've got I would consider this a late race yellow. We're going to start getting, you know, some moves from drivers that are trying to make up spots and gain their final points opportunities in these positions, and especially for the front 3 in the championship. They are all right there competing. the 8 truck especially has to move forward. Moving forward means passing. Passing means close racing. Close racing means we could get some excitement. Lap 74 of 115. We're getting down to the nitty-gritty here in the Area Truck Series at Nashville. Green flag back in the air in the season finale.
And a phenomenal start for Travis Beckner. Bratz Auto Racing 0 time. He's going to already go 3 wide between Cody Cutterer and Jordan Martin for 3rd place.
We'll see if they allow him to sneak through here in the middle and jump up to 3rd place. And he's going to get away in front of the 25 and now clear the 11. Brad Slaughter Jr. has an advantage. Here's Justin Anasogak to the bottom, 3 wide into turn 3.
Oh, and Martin backing out deep as he's on the oldest tires out of anyone in the field, so he's at a disadvantage compared to everyone else. But for Brad Slaughter, that was the best restart he could have hoped for. Now he has the sights set on those 2 up ahead of him.
Lots of scrapping in the backdrop here as we enter turn 1. Look at this fight. Rafe Slate, Tom Bourne. Good trucks back here. The 85, all trucks that were trapped a lap down. The 85 still is a lap down, so is the 18. Not a free pass recipient because he was involved in the yellow flag. The 18 is in the free pass position now.
And a little bit of a check up onto the outside lane with Eric Wineland still fighting there, as he is on the lead lap now, but still severely damaged and drifting on back.
Truck sweeps to the left. Rambo's not making up any ground here, but I think he'd like to draw another yellow flag. He knows it could go green, and if it goes green, he's not going to have any chance to make up more spots tonight. 16 and the 08 really close out of turn 4, right between the number 11. That was almost a touch.
Could have been disastrous. Still can be disastrous. Here's a 3 wide. Martin going to drop on back. Bourne and Ray Slate still side by side. You see Bourne catch the bottom, going to barely tap Ray Slate. And Light now in the 26 knocking on the door to the Tide machine.
And for 2nd place, here comes Brad Slaughter Jr. to the bottom. Previous winner in both prior Area Truck Series races, Brad Slaughter Jr. is. I think when he saw this listed as the finale, he probably got very excited, and he must be excited now. He's in 2nd place and running down Beckner here. If this goes green to the end, Slaughter's in the best spot of anybody.
Now what a fantastic strategy call from the 8. Everything went his way this call.
Got luck too.
Oh yeah, a whole lot of luck as well, helping perfect that strategy call, and now it's knocking on the door of victory here. We can get past Travis Beckner. This is in the same spot he was about 50 laps earlier, and now has to try to see if he can get past Beckner now with a little bit of an advantage.
And don't burn up that advantage. You've got it. It's not very much, but it might be enough to overcome any pace difference that the 28 may have. And he's got to be calculated. There's still plenty of time left. So maybe let that 28 run away. You don't want to let the 28 be able to pace himself, though. So you have to keep a little bit of pressure on without burning up your own stuff. Rafe Slate, Michael Light. This is for 8th.
So I know it's still for them, and near the top 2, Cody Cutter and Justin Anasogak, both of which pit under the last caution as well with Brad Slaughter. They're also catching up, and now here comes Cutter looking to the inside. Weishart with the block into turn 3.
Yeah, Weishart is not playing around tonight with the non-playoff competitors. He is saying, this is our race up front. You can race for 4th, but I need this 3rd. I need to be in position. You can't blame him, but it could get you turned. Blocking is a self-policing maneuver in oval racing.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and it really just come down to just 25-1 to potentially shake out a championship competitor. We'll see here, he gets another great run off the corner, trying to make Weishart make a move, and there he goes now. The 25 goes down below. Weishart barely cutting him off. Ooh, and it looked like he was trying to turn him there, or potentially trying to give him a little bit of a bump in retaliation.
33 is driving really hard to keep that 25 behind him as they scrap for position, and Sogak is now going to attack the 25, which will relieve the pressure on Weishart for a moment, but I bet you that Cutler's not thrilled. But 33 is just racing his race and has defense to throw. Good battles all over the racetrack, and for the lead again.
For the lead, bump.
A little bit of a push from Slaughter Jr. to Beckner. Just a hello, for now at least.
And I think I don't know, I feel like for Slaughter, he might want to have to, while he has a bit of an advantage now, I think he might want to make the pass on Beckner. where the tires start to equalize.
Well, that was my point earlier, was there's two thoughts here. It's either you can lay back and hope Beckner burns up his stuff, but he might just, in that situation, just pace himself. So you have to keep some pressure on, or just pass him and force him to overdrive. But in that process, any of those choices, you can't eliminate your very meager advantage over the 28. It's not much. It's about 3 green flag laps worth of tire wear, but it's something.
Nose to tail for the lead and for the championship. Weishart waiting in the wings.
Weishart would love for these two to start dueling, get up alongside each other and go for it, but wonder how calculated Brad is being here. He's won here before. He knows how to do it. Tonight's race was pretty unexpected in terms of how it's played out from my perspective compared to what we saw last night. I wasn't expecting a near 180 on short run raceability, but we've seen that. And Brad Slaughter Jr. knows the deal. Good run here out of turn 2.
Yeah, really great run. Probably the best run he's had this entire sequence. Going to look a little bit low. Maybe try to force Beckner to make a block. And going to make a late move to the inside. Almost makes contact with a 28. Here he goes up the inside.
That was really close. They almost touched out of turn 4. Brad Slaughter Jr., Travis Beckner fighting for a championship at Nashville. And David Weishart just watching and waiting.
And Slaughter did not go all the way down to the yellow line on the front straightaway. Kept Beckner a little bit high, trying to get him to back off. Beckner still fighting hard on that outside lane.
We saw earlier, though, when Brad fought on the upper groove, how much it hurt his tires, and that time into turn 3, he's going to clear the 28. Beckner going to try the crossover, but he doesn't have enough of a run.
Yeah, and actually there was some contact between the 28 and the 8 heading off into the corner. Beckner caught the wall, tried to get off of it, then hit the 8, and that caused him to lose momentum. So that's how the pass happened. Now Slaughter has a chance to drive away, or like you said, manage his pace now that he has the lead.
Now, Beckner can't really relinquish this either unless he thinks that the 8 will just drive his own tires off. And Weishart, if he is saving, he's in trouble because Cutler's going to get ahead of him and kind of reduce that opportunity. And these two have fought pretty viciously for this 3rd position, and Weishart has denied it to him, but this time he can't.
He's still going to fight on that outside lane. I think he's going to try to force this 25 to back out if he has to. Again, the championship is on the line here, and he's fighting with a non-championship competitor. He's in his mind, he feels the 25 doesn't have a whole lot to lose here.
But Cutler takes the spot cleanly and puts Weishart back to 4th. Brad Slaughter Jr. hit earlier than everybody else by about 10 laps, and we thought he was in trouble. We had gone about 50 or 60 laps under green, and then the caution flies, and Brad Slaughter Jr. is now in position to win the title. He has no wins in the wins column. Everyone else he's fighting has 3 apiece.
Yeah, what a turn of events. And again, it's not because Brad Slaughter is not a good driver. He's a previous champion in the series in Season 1. Finished runner-up last season and now has a chance to make it 2 for 3 if he can seal the deal and hang on for just about another 25 laps.
But he is faster than Beckner. Cutler's almost even with him on lap time. That time by, he was 8 thousandths off. Weishart was the slowest of the top 5. We have 25 laps to go.
Now imagine if a caution came out now.
Oh boy. Well, I still think Brad Slaughter Jr. is in the best spot because he has track position, and then everyone would come to pit lane and they'd be on equal tires. He wouldn't have an advantage, but he'd have the restart. And that's good for at least 5 laps of safety, I think. That initial jump that you get.
Cody Cutter, his pace is not slowed down. He's keeping pace with the top 2. Might have a chance of catching Travis Beckner.
Cody Cutter is Brad Slaughter Jr.'s best friend right now.
Oh, yeah.
Just get up there, mess with Beckner, mess with Weishart, just stay behind me. And it really did take Weishart out of the group, that's for sure. And
actually, Weishart is falling to the clutches of Anis Sogak now for battle for 4th.
Yeah, I think 33 is in trouble here. I think he's going to need a yellow flag to kind of reset his strategy. He's aggressive, and you give him a restart in 10 laps, and I think he can do it. But right now, I think if he's saving, it's too much, I think. We're 12 minutes from the checker. That's how close we are to the end of this thing.
I was going to say, I definitely don't think he is saving. I think he is genuinely trying. He just doesn't have enough to compete with because everyone else around him, save for Beckner, has fresher tires.
Single file behind him. The chances for a yellow. We said that earlier. That was pretty low. The only battle happening right now is Michael Leip and Justin Munsell. Munsell takes 8th place away from the 26. Puts the Tide Tundra back in P9.
I was going to say, it's not the best stage for the Tundras, mostly outside the top 5.
Yeah, the Chevrolets, the bow ties have dominated tonight.
Ooh, Weishart made contact off of turn 4 last time by.
Have a look. Pushing really, really hard. Did he get the wall?
He did get, well, there was some smoke. It was more of a kiss than some serious contact, but you can see that he is definitely pushing, and that's only going to get worse.
Yeah, if anything, he scraped the layer of paint off the wall, if any. I don't know if he dented any sheet metal in the process, but he whispered to it.
It is showing he is pushing that right front, and that's what I'm saying. It's only going to get worse and worse if he keeps pushing that hard. He's trying to catch up to the leaders and trying to prevent the 88 from catching back up to him.
So here's something interesting. Beckner, his deficit to the 8 is kind of slowed to a stall, meaning that Slaughter Jr.'s lap times have begun to fade a little bit. It's still a hair faster, but not by a lot. Could this be swinging the other way? We've got 20 laps to find out.
Well, don't forget, Beckner was arguably the fastest of the 3 of them on the initial first stint that we had. The first green flag stint we had where we saw green flag pit stop start. Beckner was the fastest of the 3 of them by the end of it. So I would say Beckner is the best on the long run.
And last time by, Slaughter Jr. was faster, but just by 100th.
But there's also could be Brad just kind of managing the gap. He doesn't need a second gap, really just needs a couple tenths to give him some sort of breathing room over the 28. But this could also be, like I mentioned, the table's starting to turn here. Last time through, Beckner's still just a little bit slower than Slaughter.
Yeah, but it's definitely not an enormous difference, and it could reverse, and he's close enough that if it does reverse, he's got time to get back to the 8, but his opportunities are going to start dwindling now that we're under 20 laps to go. Brad Slaughter Jr. is in a position to steal a championship away from 3 drivers. Remember that Ryan Hartz didn't make it here because of an iRacing account suspension, we believe. And that all have 3 wins apiece. Now, Brad Slaughter Jr.'s season has been pretty good. It's been consistent. He's only had 4 finishes outside of the top 20, and everything else has been 11th or better. So he's really had a decent season. It just hasn't been phenomenal. He had a 2nd at Auto Club, a 3rd at Talladega, a 2nd at Darlington, and a 3rd at Iowa. But that was really the highlights of his season. If he could wrap this up with a win, he'd be in really good shape because he'd be the champion. But Beckner that time through stabilized at a 0.5 second gap and was a hair quicker.
Hair quicker last time through. This could be the tides of war changing. The 28 starting to catch back up here just in the nick of time with 16 laps to go next time by. And in behind, David Weishart trying to make a move on Cody Cutterer. 25 starting to fade. Here comes Weishart trying to get that 3rd place back.
And Weishart was almost as fast as Brad Slaughter Jr. last time by, so his tires have also kind of stabilized and found some extra pace to get back around the 25, which that truck had frustrated him earlier in the run.
Whoa! The 25 wrecking off into turn 1, hits a little hard. Off the nose of the 88, he's going to save it. We remain green.
Well, that got physical really fast. Here's what happened. The 25 tried to slot in there ahead of the 88, not clear, and then pow into the outside wall. That will likely be nearly terminal damage for the 25. That was a big, big hit.
Yeah, I'm sure Weishart's probably going, why couldn't that happen about 10, 15 laps earlier? Because now he's got a 2-second deficit to make up on Beckner and Brad.
Oh, that was a 67 in the wall and 1 and 2 right ahead of the leaders. It made me panic for a moment. I'm sure it made Brad Slaughter Jr.'s heart stop. And his heart might be picking up in tempo here because look in the mirror, that 28 is getting bigger.
He's getting bigger, he's starting to close in. Last lap it was Beckner up a 10th over the 8 machine. So
Weishart in the wall hard out of 4. That time it felt it. That was a big hit for the 33.
saw last time he was flirting with it. This time he made some decent love to it. Taking a look off of there.
Yeah, that was
a solid one.
See the damage on the 33. That's going to be pretty catastrophic, I think, to his championship hopes. But stay in it because these two are getting closer, and it ain't over till it's over.
Another 10th out for Beckner in the last lap by. We'll see as he come across the stripe. It'll be 13 laps to go.
Yeah, he's still faster. I mean, he's consistently faster now. And that gap is down to about middle of 3/10 or so, as it was over half a second.
So is Beckner, is he going to use the chrome horns? Because I think he will.
Oh, absolutely. Travis Beckner reminds me of Tony Stewart in some ways. He's the, I'd wreck my mom to win a championship, I'd wreck your mom to win a championship kind of guy.
Yeah.
and fair play. He doesn't, he admits he's aggressive. It's not like he goes out there and wrecks anybody on purpose, but he'll use you up. And it's frustrated drivers at that same time, but the results show. It's not like it's not successful. The strategy has worked. Beckner did lose 2/10 that lap, so that wasn't a great revolution for the 28 truck. But yeah, if he gets to the 8, I could expect some bumpers to trade paint. Did he hit the wall or anything? He seems to be pretty off pace. Yeah, he's lost some ground. That time, so did the 8. 31.7, really slow lap for the 8 truck and much better for the 28.
Yeah, Slaughter got really tight off of turn 4, almost went into the wall, had to back off. So I think either they're just having off laps here and there, but for Beckner, he's going to have to hope that he starts making more mistakes here and he starts lessening his mistakes, trying to catch back up here.
Doesn't have time to make up a whole lot more in terms of mistakes, so you better get it together, because we have 10 laps to go in Nashville for the Area Truck Series finale. 17 races, and it all comes down to this. 10 laps at Nashville Super Speedway under the lights, and Beckner, another good lap and 3/10 back. He's remade up that deficit from a couple laps ago.
Yeah, it seems like Beckner is a lot more stronger on the entry compared to Slaughter, and also by extension, Beckner seems to be a lot better at 1 and 2 compared to Slaughter in 3 and 4.
We're back into shifting now. I wonder how much that'll factor in. We weren't doing that just a couple of laps ago, and now we've kind of bounced back to the shifting, and that's probably why we've seen the lap times make a 2/10 jump. But Beckner has kind of found a wall, like we saw with Weishart earlier. You just get to him, and then you can't get closer.
And again, for Beckner, we're thinking he might not just have to get close. He just has to get close enough to make some sort of aggressive move. Not the best run through turn 4 last time by.
That was a really poor run for the 28 on that end of the racetrack. 8 laps to go, and before we get into the very end of this race, fans, be sure to check out areaiRacing.shop for merchandise to represent your favorite driver. Shop from our selection of t-shirts, sweatshirts, hoodies, stickers, and more. Use code SWAN for 10% off your order at checkout.
And you're missing nothing else on the rest of the racetrack. This is the closest battle on the entire racetrack, and it's with the most at stake here, not just the win of this race, but for the championship here. 7 laps to go at the line.
Yeah, the 28's losing ground in 3 and 4, so whatever he's doing there, whatever adjustment he's made, is not helping, and I think it has to do with the shifting. And Slaughter's arcing the corner a lot more. You see him leaving a whole lane on the bottom of 1 and 2, and that's the end that Beckner gains. But then we get to this end of the track. See that 8 arcing it in so much more than the 28. And this is where Beckner loses all the time he gains on the one end.
Yeah, they're starting to equalize more and more. Beckner going to be a little bit slower this time by. Actually, sorry, it was actually a little bit faster this time by, but only by about 1/100th of a second.
Yeah, that's not going to do it. He's going to need a 10th here, a 10th there.
But he's really pushing hard out of turn 2.
Wow, so is the 67 behind him? Yes, Cameron Hearn almost was in the wall. We're not necessarily safe from caution flags. There are a couple groups, Eric Wineland, Jordan Martin, and Matthew Cochran, that's kind of in the middle of a several car battle, so we're not completely clear until we get that white flag. Slaughter gained about a 0.5 on Beckner. They've been trading back and forth, Finian. It hasn't been consistent, but again, this all comes back to the strategy that Brad Slaughter Jr., he just jumped off a cliff, hoping and praying he'd get a yellow flag, and indeed he did. And that saved his championship hopes and put him in the catbird seat for it, quite honestly.
Yeah, absolutely. And you just kind of hope that the strategy will work out, everything will work out in the end, and fortunately for him, it did. And he's about 4 laps away from taking home the championship. And again, how amazing it is. We talked about this season, winless for him. He's been so close so many times, has not been able to execute. And now when he needed to execute the most, might be coming to him here as we see battle for 4th place between Munsell and Weishart, who started to slip back.
The Weishart will drop to 5th place. His championship hopes are dashed. 3 laps to go. Beckner is 6/10 back, which is the biggest his gap has been in the last 25 laps. Brad Slaughter Jr. still nursing a slight tire advantage over the 28. And that all came down to pitting or undercutting the leaders, getting a caution flag, and then pitting to have about a 3 to 4 lap tire advantage. It has paid off. And imagine if he didn't come to pit road, or if he did and it was only a 1 lap difference, Finney, and that might have been enough for Beckner to run him back down.
Here they come, 2 laps to go. Beckner, really the only thing that could save him at this point is a caution coming out in the next 15 seconds, as he is not catching that 8 at this rate.
It doesn't look like that's going to happen unless there's a real dramatic late caution flag in some buzzer beater moment. For Brad Slaughter Jr., though, this season, he has finished 2nd, he has finished 3rd, he has not yet finished 1st. If he can make it a mile, he'll put a win in the win column and a championship trophy in his belt. White flag, 1 lap to go from Nashville.
And Beckner forcing really hard. I see Beckner's truck twitching as he's trying to throw it into gear, see if he can make up any sort of ground on the 8, but it's going to be no dice here at the coming on the back straightaway.
Brad Slaughter Jr. in the number 8. No wins in the win column. Came in as a massive underdog to those with 3 wins apiece. But out of turn 4, 1 win is enough for Brad Slaughter Jr. A championship for the number 8 at Nashville.
Really, really solid job for Slaughter there to execute when everything came into line. Taking on the championship, Beckner in 2nd, and David Weishart going to be disappointed coming back in 5th.
Disappointing night for the 33. And 1 spot shy for Travis Beckner, but the 8 of Brad Slaughter Jr. Look at his record. The last 3 races here at Nashville, winner in all 3. Right place, right time. Got the caution he needed at the right moment. That was all it took.
And here he comes down to burn it down. Championship number 2 in the Truck Series for Brad Slaughter Jr. He's going to enjoy it. Hasn't been able to do this all season long. Finally gets to do it here as a champion.
A lot of celebration and elation going on there. He was definitely the underdog. He would have admitted that prior to the race. Laps led just 33. They were the final 33. And Travis Beckner, you have to feel for him. Led 63 laps on the night. The 33 of Weishart led 15. They all led at some point. And you also have to wonder, what would have happened if the 3 was here, Finney? And that changes a lot.
Oh, I'm sure he's probably setting it open, wondering that same thing himself. What would have happened if he was here? Could have definitely thrown a wrench into things, especially considering how close he saw the battle between the 33, the 28, and the 8 himself.
Well, the 8 continues to celebrate. Let's have a look at our race results. Brad Slaughter Jr. wins the race and the championship. He'll celebrate with us here momentarily. Travis Beckner comes up 1 spot short, P2 in the championship and on the racetrack. Justin Anisogak, P3. Justin Munsell, David Weishart, the rest of the top 5.
And then you got Tom Bourne, Ray Slate, Matthew Cochran rounding out, coming into inside the top 10 in the later part. Michael Lipp and Bryce Senizak rounding out your top 10. And rolling on to page number 2, Eric Wineland, Martin, Bamro, Wilson, Cutter, Roderick, and Hearn rounding out pretty much the rest of your field.
Really interesting race from a strategy perspective for Brad Slaughter Jr. We're going to talk to him momentarily. One driver we do have, though, is Justin Anisogak, who finished 3rd tonight, sneaking up in there in that number 88 after starting in 10th. Justin, some good late race battles there with Justin Munsell and David Weishart, but you persisted after a little bit of contact with the 25 and finished P3, so a great way to end the season. How do you feel about tonight in the season as a whole?
Yeah, I felt really good. I had a league race here Sunday and ran really well there, but it was nighttime here, so I had a whole bunch of practice already. So yeah, I just had not a so great season, and then kind of got taken out in the playoffs. But I'm glad to end it on a high note with a third, pretty much.
Yeah, it was a great way to end the season for you. As we look forward to next, are we expecting to see you around again in the Area Truck Series, and what's different for next year, if anything?
Yeah, I'll definitely be back. I think I'm bringing back the team again, so we should have another full roster of the trucks going into next season, and then something going on in the Xfinity. But congrats to Brad on the championship. Took him all season to finally get a win. He finally did it on the last race, so congrats to him and all the rest of the guys. I know Hartz couldn't make it, but I know the other two, Travis and David, had a really good race, and I just had a little nice view from third to fourth place.
Justin Azogak, P3 in the number 88. Justin, thanks for chatting with us. Congratulations on a job well done tonight. We'll see you next season.
Yeah, thank you.
And we don't yet have Travis Beckner to chat with, but we do have your 2023 Area Truck Series champion. It is Brad Slaughter Jr. in the number 8. The Lumar Chevrolet Silverado brings it home. Victory lane for the first time this season, Brad. Underdog for sure, coming in against 3 drivers with 3 wins apiece. You win 1, and you got it. 33 laps led. That's all it took. I mean, are you as shocked as we are? Because the strategy played out perfectly for you after we thought it was all going downhill when you pit early, but then the caution flag changed everything.
Anything can happen. I mean, oh man, that's incredible, man. I feel terrible for Hartz. I just want to go ahead and get that out there, man. I feel terrible that he wasn't able to compete with us tonight, and I feel bad for David there. That was just tough luck with the way the cautions and all fell, because David and Travis were class of the field tonight. I was just a smidge off, and the cautions just fell. I mean, I thought when that caution came out, I thought it honestly ruined my strategy. I thought I was going to be sitting okay there with like 40 to go with about a 6-second lead. I thought I may be able to manage the tires and hold them off. It's really tough to pass tonight. Wow. I mean, that is unbelievable. That's awesome, baby. 2-time. That sounds awesome too, man. Get another one. Unbelievable. I can't say enough about David Weishart Racing, all my teammates, man. What a season. Everybody, they kept telling me that I'm not washed up. Even every time when I would come up short every week, I was starting to worry myself a little bit. But what a time, man. Still undefeated at Nashville, 3 for 3. Never lost a race here in the Truck Series. So happy about that too. Just wow. Can't believe it.
Wow, indeed. 3 for 3 at Nashville. And 1 win gets it done here, Matt Kenseth, of all things. Congratulations, man. Well earned. I know the strategy fell your way, but you did a great job holding off Travis in those closing laps. Congratulations. Soak this in, and we'll see you next season. 2-time champ of the Area Truck Series. Congratulations.
Yeah, and real quick before I go, shout out to Travis Beckner, because that kid's got me absolutely sitting in a puddle of sweat right now. I am drenched head to toe. That kid, just when I thought I had him there at the end of that run, man, I thought I had the tire advantage. I was pulling away, and I looked down, and he's eating me back up, coming back to me, and I had to change up everything I was doing. I had to start shifting. I did not want to shift, but he was coming back to me, and that kid's so talented. Stupid talented. So shout out to Travis, shout out to David. David had a hell of a race tonight too. I feel terrible for him, but and shout out to Pawpaw, because I know you're out there watching. I love you, Pawpaw. And let's go, baby. Off season champion.
Champion. Enjoy the off season, Brad. We'll see you next time. Congratulations again.
All right, appreciate it, guys. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. And Travis Beckner, P2 in the championship and in the race. Brad Slaughter Jr. just said that that kid's got talent, talking about you, and you had him in a pool of sweat, he said. Short 1 spot, Travis. I know you gave it your all. The strategy kind of worked in the 8's favor there at the end, but you almost had him reeled back in. What'd you need to win the championship and get by that number 8?
For that caution not to come out. If that did not come out, I was probably going to track him down with the fresh tires there, and just did not work out in my favor. And Came up one spot short, like you said. Just gotta come back and try again next year with Miller Racing.
Well, it was a good season overall. 3 wins for you and 3 of the 4 championship competitors. It was Brad's first this season. So is there a high to take away that you were tied for most wins here in the season? Looking back, is that a positive for you, or is the championship really the thing that matters on the grand scale?
I mean, yeah, of course it's a positive. Over the past few years that I've been racing in this league, season 1 I didn't join in time, but I wasn't going to make the playoffs then. I didn't have enough talent. And season 2 I got better, swept the road courses, and this year I actually had enough talent to win at ovals. And yeah, I'm just gonna come back as hard as I can next year and be more aggressive. So.
Travis Beckner, P2 in the championship and in the race. Travis, congratulations on a second. We'll see you next season.
Yeah, hang on. Before I go, I'd like to thank my sponsors: Rick's Hot Sauce, Lodgebox, Wax Electric, Collier Cutters Landscaping, Palmetto State Army, Laconia Setup Shops, and I think that's it. I don't know though. And of course, y'all taking time out of your day to come broadcast these races. I know y'all had your 5-year anniversary last night with this, and hopefully we can have y'all on board for a long time coming.
That's the plan, Travis. Thanks so much. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Yeah, clearly some dejection there for Travis Beckner, finishing in 63 laps. It kind of hurts to listen to, actually. He was disappointed for sure, but he had a great season, and there's strength coming back next season doing it all over again. But, it was a pretty wild race all around. We had some incidents and things here and there. Here's the first one. This was Eric Wineland and Garrett Grant getting together on lap number 15.
There we go, fix that. Yeah, it's not surprising to hear him dejected like that. I mean, when you come in 3 wins and you're competing a guy against that had none this season so far, and considering how well he performed the rest of the race up until the final part, I would be disappointed as well.
Yeah, just lots of drama in this race. Here's Brett Slaughter Jr. almost missing pit lane. Could have thrown away the championship right here. This was a big moment. Got it woed down, though, just in time. And then this is the moment where it all went just right for the number 8 out of turn 4 and onto the front straightaway. Or onto I guess it was onto the front straightaway, right? Yes.
Yeah, it was on the front straightaway here, coming. Gonna get tight. Gonna try to clear the 11. Gets up into him, comes down spinning, almost taking out the 33 of Weishart, but bringing out the caution. The exact caution that Brett Slaughter needed to change up the strategy.
And then there was this. 25 trying to squeeze in behind the 33, got turned across the nose of the 88, slammed the outside wall. And then, of course, towards the end of the race, the 33 ended up in the outside wall. He finishes 5th tonight and 3rd in the championship. And again, the biggest disappointment, I think, for the championship 3 is that their 4th competitor was not here. Ryan Hart's again missing the season finale of, seems like, not of his own doing, not in his power. So a frustrating end for Ryan Hart's this season. He will come home 4th in the title.
Yeah, but really glad to see him be able to pull it off. Never give up this entire season and narrowly come through to get it done.
That's going to do it for us tonight here on SimTV. Thanks for watching. Tomorrow night, DC Region SCCA action. Headed to Barber Motorsports Park with GR86s. And the Launchbox Series returns for their season finale right here in Nashville on Thursday after the FSS Esports iRacing Series at VIR. We'll see you there on Thursday for the Area Launchbox Series. Kyle Heyer, Finney Laguna, bringing you the action.